Hello and welcome back to the Hairy Housewife YouTube channel, and today we are talking pre-wash. Hello and welcome back, you wonderful lot. And if you didn't guess from the title sequence, today we are talking pre-wash sprays. Specifically, we are talking Forst from Stjarnagloss, and I decided to pit that up against the Hairy Housewife 2021 Award Product of the Year winner, and that is going to be the iDetail Pro pre-wash spray. I haven't found a pre-wash spray that knocks it off the top spot yet. Can Forst do it? We're going to find out. Now, I decided to try these on my own personal vehicle. Well, I say mine, it's my wife's car. It is minging. Doesn't matter how many times I clean that, next day, filthy. Don't understand it. However, the outside hasn't been cleaned for around about 2,000 miles, I believe, and it is just covered in road grime, dirt, grit, diesel fumes up the back, diesel fumes up the front. If you haven't seen how dirty it is, Instagram, Facebook, Bebo, MySpace, Twitter, all those, I posted that video the other day, and you can see it is just an everyday generic used car. And I thought, what better car to use these on? Because most people are not going to have Lambos, they're not going to have Ferraris, not going to have Porsches. They're going to have an everyday car, and they're going to want to know how these products work on an everyday vehicle. So I thought, why not try it on ours? So, you'll notice when we get into the video, I've masked the boot off in 4 separate sections. The reason behind this is I'm going to be using an APC on one, Forst on another, the iDetail Pro pre-wash spray, and I'm going to be using just plain old water on the last test panel, just so you can see the difference between an APC, a pre-wash spray, and just plain old water, just to see if these products are even worth having, or whether you could get away with just using an APC, or just using plain old water. So let's crack on, let's have a look and see how these products got on. So as you can see in the footage, I am wearing gloves when I use this. PPE is very important when using products like this. You don't want to get this on your hands. It can cause serious skin irritation and allergic reactions, and also you can get a little bit of a nasty chemical burn. I have done in the past, and it's not very pleasant. Also, I wouldn't recommend using these on a windy day unless you've got a face mask and eye protection, because you don't want it in your mouth and you seriously don't want it in your eyes. I have been there, I have done it. You don't want to. PPE is definitely key when you're using products like this. So there you can see the boot is laid out in 4 separate sections. Now, they're not even sections. I didn't have time to sit and measure the sort of sections out and make them all even. It doesn't matter. You're going to see how these products work on the section. It doesn't matter how big or small the section is. Now we're going to start off with Forst, and you'll see when I'm using Forst that I don't need to spray a lot on. The atomizer trigger head on this is fantastic. A couple of sprays and it goes a long way. Now I'm not going to drench the panel in this. I want to get a nice even layer just so you can see how well this product works. Again, I didn't have to spray a lot on because you can see that atomizer spray spreads across that panel really easy. So we're now going to move on to the iDetail Pro, and this is through no fault of their own. I'm having to spray a little bit more and a little bit more vigorously with this because the trigger sprayer that come with it, I dropped, smash, and I'm now using a cheap one that doesn't squirt very well. So then we move on to the APC. Now it's KKD APC. I'm not going to go into it too much later on. You'll see why when you watch the video. I'm using it through my 50 cal duck head foaming spray. You can get them in most places. I'll pop all the links in the description below of the products I use, just so you don't have to ask me the questions on where did this come from, where did that come from. They're in the description below. Just go find them yourself. Now we're going to move on and see how that sprays on the vehicle. Now I do like these duck head sprayers. They give a nice foam, and they foam up a product that isn't usually meant to be foamy. So they are pretty good. They're only a few quid, and they come in very handy. So as you can see, as I spray this on the vehicle, it is coming out quite foamy. There is quite a lot coming out, and I am struggling not to drench the panel with that. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to let them sit for around about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to rinse them off. You'll see the end panel that I haven't touched, that is just going to be rinsed off with plain old water. We're going to see how well these compare against that panel. Now, the ends I've sprayed with the APC and the pre-wash sprays are dirtier than the ends I'm going to do with water, so you expect them to be a little bit cleaner than the end one. We'll find out how they go. So as you can see, I am filming there with a different camera. I didn't put none of that footage in because that camera is an absolute pain to use and it just doesn't come out very clean. And it just doesn't look great. So now we've let that dwell for 4 to 5 minutes. I'm going to rinse it off. Now I'm going to decide to rinse it off with just a open jet end on my pressure washer. No pressure. I just want to see what this can do without any real pressure behind it, with just plain old running water. As you can see, dirt is coming off as I'm running it down. However, it's not great. So I'm now going to crack out the 25-degree nozzle end, and I'm going to go over the panel in quite a uniform pattern. I'm going to make sure I go as close to each section as I did in the last, just so you know that I am doing it properly and not staying further away from one and not the other. As you can see with the Stjarnagloss, it has helped remove a little bit more dirt. There are patches where you can see that I have missed with the pre-wash spray. However, you can see the difference with the pre-wash sprays, the plain water and the APC. The pre-wash sprays have actually removed the dirt a little bit better. Now again, pre-wash sprays are not going to be perfect. They're not going to remove all dirt, but they should remove a fair amount. As you can see, they have removed a fair amount in the places I have used them. However, again, I have missed parts on those at the top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give them another blasting over with the pre-wash sprays and maybe saturate it a little bit more to get the bits that I have missed. So as you can see, I'm going over with Forst again, and I am saturating that panel. I am covering all that dirt as much as I can, and I'm not being a penny pincher. I'm using it as you probably should a pre-wash spray. And then I'm going to be doing the same with the iDetail Pro. I'm not going to bother with the APC and obviously the water. We'll see how that turns out again at the end. There we go, we've left it 4 minutes as well. You can see now I've saturated the panel with the pre-wash spray. The dirt is just falling off with the pressure washer. The iDetail Pro panel is looking fairly clean. Now we move on to the Stjarnagloss. Again, that is looking fairly clean. That is looking really good. That has taken more dirt off. The APC and the water one. Again, I didn't spray it with more APC. I just sort of rinsed it off again. You can see the difference when I pull the tape off. But the APC has not really done a lot compared to the iDetail Pro and the Stjarnagloss. And again, plain old water, you can still see the panel is dirty. Now, I didn't notice it while I was filming, but I did notice it a little bit later on. We're going to come back to that later on. However, the iDetail Pro had removed more in this footage than the Stjarnagloss, but I'm going to come back to that a little bit later on. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the two pre-wash sprays, I'm going to the front of the vehicle where it is covered again in traffic, dirt, road and grime, and I'm going to put them up against each other on the front bumper, because like I said on the back, I sprayed it a little bit lightly, and then I went over it again. So I wanted to do it with one big hit on a panel, just to see if you soaked it properly and not be a penny pincher like me, how well they both clean against each other. So here we have the front of the vehicle. Again, it's just as filthy as the rear. I am not being a penny pincher. I am going to saturate that little panel there as much as I can. And this is how you should use a pre-wash spray. Don't be like me at the start of the video and try and penny pinch. Soak that panel, get that dirt nice and covered. That is the Forst gone on. Now you can see with the Forst it is a little bit more foamier than the iDetail Pro. However, I've put a nice thick layer, both of those products, on the front bumper, and we'll see how they rinse off. So now we've let that dwell for 4 to 5 minutes, I'm going to rinse off the front bumper. As you start with the Stjarnagloss, you can see it is rinsing off nicely. It is taking that dirt off. And then we move over to the iDetail Pro, and it's rinsing that dirt off just as nicely. There's no real difference between them here that I can see. They are both just doing the job that they are designed to do. Now, if I move around to the side of the bumpers, you can see the areas I haven't sprayed with the pre-wash spray. And you can see where the pre-wash spray has run down and removed the dirt on the runs. However, you can see plain old water won't remove the dirt. The pre-wash spray has done the job on either side. So now back to that boot. Now this is where I had noticed the iDetail Pro had removed more than the Stjarnagloss. I was done with the review. I thought they were both matched. I thought they were both fantastic products, and they are fantastic products. However, from what the boot has told me, the iDetail Pro removes a little bit more than the Stjarnagloss. Now, like I said, I hadn't noticed this until I was about packing up and the car was drying, and I was getting ready to give the car a snow foam and a wash over. I was going to use an iPhone Max just to get the rest of the dirt off. However, I noticed the boot, and I was like, something is a little bit off there. The iDetail Pro has removed more than the Stjarnagloss. And I was like, okay, do you know what? I'm going to test something now. So I decided to spray the iDetail Pro pre-wash spray over those two test panels for pre-wash spray because I didn't want people saying the dirt on the Stjarnagloss side was a little bit dirty or a little bit more sticky than it was on the iDetail Pro side. So I thought, you know what, I'm not having that in the comments. So I decided I'm going to go over that two panels with the iDetail Pro pre-wash spray and see if it can remove the dirt that Stjarnagloss had left over, or to see if maybe it was more ingrained or more dirty and filthy there and it was just unlucky for the Stjarnagloss at the time. So we are now going to rinse this off now. It has dwelled for around 4 to 5 minutes. And you'll see, as I start to rinse it off, the side with the APC, the dirt is just falling off. You can see that pre-wash spray has done the job. You can also see the patch where I'd missed. So you can see the pre-wash spray does the job. Now I'm holding the gun the same distance away from the panel as I did before. It might look a little bit closer. It's because the camera is closer and I'm in front of the camera. However, I'm holding it the same distance and an equal distance all the way along. And you can see the dirt from the Stjarnagloss is now gone. It has improved that. But what I'm going to do is, because last time I didn't notice it until the panel had started to dry. So I'm now going to dry that panel off with my little blower. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to see what dirt is left over and see if there's any visible dirt left over by the iDetail Pro that was left from the Stjarnagloss, just so I can show you guys that dirt isn't there, isn't stickier, isn't dirtier, isn't anything special. It is just the same dirt across the boot, basically. So as you can see, here I come with my blower. I am blowing that boot panel off. I'm getting nice and dry, standing in front of the camera like an absolute melon. And as you can see, as the water is blowing off, you can see all that dirt that the Stjarnagloss had left over is now gone. And you can see that the iDetail Pro pre-wash spray has made mincemeat of the dirt that was left over. So let's talk about the products themselves, and we'll start with Stjarnagloss. Now Stjarnagloss has a very Scandinavian sounding name, and I believe from looking online, Stjarna actually means star, so you're looking at Star Gloss. And with the names of them, Forst is not a real word that I could find online, and I believe it's just a little bit of a play on the product and the titles. Forst in my eyes means first, because you've got the pre-wash spray, you'd use that first. The same as they've got a interior cleaner called Inni, and their snow foam is just called Snow. However, like I said, they sound very Scandinavian. They're not. They're based in Essex. Cav himself could not be more Essex if he tried. I can say that because I'm from Essex myself. And yeah, it's just a fantastic company with fantastic products. Now, we then move on to the iDetail Pro. It is run by Johnny. It is a Scottish-based company. And he's a fantastic guy with fantastic products. These are not white label products. He mixes them up himself and sends them out to you guys. Now we'll go on to price. Price for both of these products for 1 litre is £10 for the Forst, £10.99 for the iDetail Pro. Neither of them can be diluted. I mean, you could dilute the Forst down and you could probably dilute the pre-wash spray down. But then why would you? Because you'd need to use twice the amount to get the same effect. So in my eyes, I wouldn't dilute them down. Now they're both pre-wash sprays. They're both to be used on the dirtiest part of the car, so you'd use them on the lower panels, the bumper, and the rear boot lid. Like I said, my boot lid gets covered in road grime, salt, dirt, and diesel fumes. Perfect for that. Now, the scent of these, the Forst itself has quite a nice orangey scent. It has orange oil in it that helps with the removal of dirt and also helps with giving a nice scent to the product. The pre-wash spray, in my eyes, I can't really smell anything from it. Does it really matter? Some people it won't. To me, I like a nice scent. However, I'm not a fan of citrusy smells, so neither of these appeal to me scent-wise. So you can buy the Forst in a 5 litre drum. At the moment, the biggest pre-wash spray you can get from iDetail Pro is 1 litre, but I believe Johnny is working on the 5 litre drums if you are interested in buying this in bulk. So are these LSP safe? Now, I can't find anywhere on the Stjarnagloss website or the iDetail Pro website that say if they are or they're not. And I'm having a guess that they're probably not because of their high alkali content. However, I've used both of these on a waxed vehicle and I didn't notice any sort of degrading or any loss of wax or sealant. However, it will degrade wax and sealant over time. That's why you're best to just use these on the dirtiest part of the vehicle, the bottom half, the bumpers, and maybe your boot lid, just so you're not spraying it all over the vehicle and damaging that wax and sealant layer you have everywhere, just on the dirtiest parts of the vehicle. Now, I'm not going to go into the KKD too much because you can see it wasn't great, and if I'm honest with you, it seemed to make the dirt stick to the panel more than it actually removed. All I'll tell you is it is their KKD, it's their APC, and you can dilute it down to 1 to 100, and I think it's about $7.99. If you're trying to find a decent APC, then by all means give it a go. It is a fantastic APC, but it's useless as a pre-wash cleaner. You wouldn't use it as a pre-wash cleaner anyway. Some people I know do. As you can see, it doesn't do a fantastic job as a pre-wash cleaner. I believe this was diluted down to 1 to 20, and it still didn't really remove any dirt. So look, there we have it. So my final verdict is Forst is a fantastic pre-wash spray if you are looking for a pre-wash spray. iDetail Pro pre-wash spray is fantastic if you're looking for a pre-wash spray. They are both fantastic pre-wash sprays. They both remove dirt. They both do a fantastic job. However, the iDetail Pro has a little bit more of a bite, but is it noticeable? As you can see from the front bumper test, not really. Unless you've got these two products side by side, you're not going to notice a difference. They both do a fantastic job. They're both amazing pre-wash sprays. I've been the Hairy Housewife. You guys have been great as always, and I'll see you all again very soon.